Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, October 17th, Sunday, October 18th for those of you across the pond and beyond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm so glad you guys can join us this evening. I'm your host, TessTNT. I hope you guys had an awesome week and a rockin' weekend so far. And thank you so much for joining us tonight on one of our many outlets. You can find us live right now on Spreaker.com. We're also on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, as well as Podcast Addict. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we'll be talking to and getting to know Jason HollyWood Fife. And Jason HollyWood Fife is the co-founder of Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives and has been an empath for as long as he can remember. He has seen and heard spirits all his life. Jason has been with Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives since it was founded in 2007 with his best friend and co-founder Craig Hoffner. They have been on a lot of residential cases together over the years. They have taken a break the past couple of years, and now they are back and ready to go. They are based in Knoxville, Tennessee, and cover a fairly big area including Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, and parts of West Virginia. No case is too big or too small, and they do not charge for any of their services. They are open to all cases and will jump in and help out where and whenever needed. Welcome, Jason, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Hey, Tessa, how are you?
I'm good. Man, I had like 3 cups of coffee today, and I was still dragging, so I had to break out the Monster.
Yeah, I did, was a couple of the Bang energy drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever today. And it was like sour heads, and then I switched to the blue raz, and I knew better than to drink the second one. And it was fine until like halfway through the day, and I'm going, I should have drank that second one.
Yeah, did you start getting the jitters?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how they work. I don't think I've had one of those that you're talking about. I used to do Red Bull, and then I moved to the sugar-free Red Bull because I was trying to lose weight, and then moved over to the Monsters because they're much cheaper, and they do a pretty good job. So I'm still on the sugar-free stuff, just, to kind of counteract my intake of, a little bit of coffee with my cream and sugar, like.
Right. If you're like me, you don't measure. You just put the cup on the counter and pour it, and you're like, yeah, that's about right. And then add a little bit of coffee.
Yeah, that's about it. So, man, I know you've been working a lot, and holy shnikes, you said 70 hours this week. I can't imagine. When I hear 40, yeah. I'm like, that's a lot, 70 hours.
Yeah, that's the fast. I think I've had, basically one day off in the past, let's see, this is going on my second week, and then I work the next 6 days, maybe even 7. Holy but that's kind of, it's kind of crazy, but that's kind of what we as paranormal investigators kind of have to do a lot of times to buy equipment. I mean, you're like, yeah, I'll pick up the extra shift because, you want to buy a new camera or, a piece of equipment. And, of course, just well as I do, and a lot of people, listening and watching that, that stuff is not cheap anymore. And, to get something halfway decent, you're looking at $600, $700, $800. And, once you buy it, you're like, well, I need to get a new tripod. I need to get this, I need to buy that. So then, of course, there's all the little extras that you need to, I always want to buy when I go pick up new equipment.
Yeah, with my last paycheck, and it's been kind of hit or miss this year due to COVID. All the events are canceled, so we can't do event security. Luckily, we did get to do the fair, so the kids could sell their animals. So we're just, right there in the barn, which is one of the spookiest places on the property. Like, there's this shadow guy that hangs out in there, and I thought for sure I saw one of those rake things on the ceiling because I had my flashlight, but the batteries were going dead, so it was really dim, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I went back and changed my batteries real quick and came back, and it was just a speaker system.
I may have stumbled onto something, and then you check and you're like, oh darn, it's just
Yeah, it was like I wasn't gonna get closer underneath it to try to see what it was. I was gonna go change my
right.
batteries first and go back, but yeah, it was pretty interesting.
That's
But it was fun. My 20-year-old daughter was on the job with me, and it was just so cool hanging out with her. I did a lot of videos with a night vision camera, and I was using this new microphone. And like a dumbass, I didn't turn on the little switch thingy, so there's a lot of video but no sound.
no audio. That's okay. I mean, that's part of the fun of being an investigator is going back and sitting through hours and hours of video and audio. You know, and a lot of times you don't necessarily know what it says, or you get to a point where you get exhausted, and you don't want to stop because you've already been watching, audio or listening to audio or watching video, and you look at the clock and you're like, I've only been doing it for 6 hours. You're like, it's time for a break. And then if you're like me, when you do that, and especially, if you start catching EVPs or you start seeing stuff on video, it's like you get all hopped up. But if you're not catching anything or you don't see or hear anything, you're like, okay, I'll finish it up tomorrow. And then, tomorrow's like the next day or the next day after.
I was going to say 3 months later.
That's what sometimes it is. I mean, that's kind of how it works. That's the reality of what we do. It would be super cool to have like an editing studio and, have somebody there and you could just like walk in and be like, here's all my audio and my video and I'll be back in the morning to pick it up.
That'd be so nice.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
And like you said, you can go broke doing this. My most recent purchase, the story I was getting to, was the SLS camera, which has the Kinect from the Xbox Live on it. And
yes,
I got it through the Ghost Hunter store, so it was $400. When I went to check out, it said $45 in shipping or $8, so I picked the $8 one. And then he's like, we have a problem here. You didn't pay the $25 shipping. I'm like, well, because it said $45. No way am I going to pay like 10% of like what I spent on this thing. And so due to the fact that I had ordered this UV IR light, which they sent me the wrong one, and it took 3 years for them to fix it, he just sent it to me for free because my grandpa had passed, and I was like, well, I could really just use the money right now, and I'll just purchase it later. And he's like, no, take it. But he worked with me. It was really cool, and he's like, that was a long time ago. Cool. Can you send me some emails? And I looked it right up and sent it to him. I think he was hoping I wouldn't find it, but he was really cool about it and understanding, I think.
That is really cool. Especially, I mean, I know that a lot of times that it would be so nice. And I know I speak for a lot of people when I say this, but it would be so nice to have one of those unlimited, like, debit or credit cards and just go down the list and be like, okay, I need 2 of those, 2 of these, 2 of the, and place your order. And you're like, oh, it's $15,000. Yeah, not a problem. Here's my card. And, and they ship it to you. But it's the reality is just, and that, I think that's what, I talked to Greg a lot about it, and I'm just like, we really want to update our equipment. And, and we've been looking and looking and looking, and, our equipment's probably, some of our stuff's probably 6 or 7 years old. So it's basically already outdated. So, we're going through and like, well, we need to get new voice recorders and, we need to get this and that. And we're like, $110 for one voice recorder? I mean, and you're like, a lot of people's like, well, that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you need 6 of them, that, it adds up. It adds
really
up really quick.
I can't believe that. Is that like anywhere, or that's just finding a good one that'll pick up what you want?
Well, we actually, I mean, there's a couple out there that we've looked at, but we haven't really decided on which ones we want. The ones that we have now, are basically like a mini USB that will plug into your laptop or tablet, and it works really well. But if you're kind of like we are, and it has like I think 6 or 7 folders on it, and you forget to download them, or and that happens a lot to me for
Or you
some
think you
reason.
downloaded it and you erase it?
Yeah, and then you go on investigation, and it's like, because that's like I think we talked last time. It's like me and Craig, we like balance each other out, and and he looks at me and he was like, "All the files are full," and I'm like, "All the files can't be full," and he's like going through them, and he's like, "Listen, listen, listen," and I start laughing, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. All the files are full," and I was like, were you supposed to download, or was I supposed to download it, or you know and then we're started looking at it and we're like, man, we've had these digital recorders for at least like 9 years, maybe. I mean, they're older, but I mean, they've always worked great. And then we're like, okay, we really need to start picking up some new stuff here and there.
Yeah, or at least, remembering to dump it. It's so hard to keep track of that stuff, even keeping track of your
it
equipment. There's been so many times, like, we
it
have so
is.
much equipment, we'll leave something behind, and luckily we'll remember it within a certain amount of time so we
Yeah.
can go back and get it. I've left my recorder. That's why I don't have my voice recorder anymore, because one of my team members picked it up. I think it was at the Grand Imperial in Silverton, Colorado. And it was for one of those national ghost hunting things that we used to do. And yeah, it was in the thing you have to climb up a ladder and go into this coal room where the coal would be dumped, and they'd shovel it and like feed it out the window or whatnot to the hallway. And I
Hmm.
left it right there to see if we'd pick up anything, and totally spaced it. So one of the team members has it. It's been over probably 2 years since I've seen it, but I don't really use it a lot. I depend on like my video, or if you're doing Facebook Live, have you ever considered that if you do not have your recorder handy, like using your cell
um
phone or Facebook Live to try to catch EVPs?
I know the last time we were, or I take that back. The time before we were at the Chatsworth Hotel, um, I actually used my phone, and we did. Um, it was a quasi like Gonsfeld experiment in the train depot, and it was so weird because I was standing there, and Craig, he went first. They were, it was like 6 or 7 of us, and they were like, does anybody want to go first? And of course Craig's like, I do. And so they're like, okay, well, you got headphones? We're like, yeah. And and they're like, do you want us to blindfold you? Do you want to close your eyes, or whatever? Exactly. We need to make sure you can't necessarily see or hear. And and I'm like, I get the recorder, and I got my camera around my neck, and I'm and I got tickled because I almost looked like one of those like tourists from the '80s, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm standing there, and I'm going, I have like every piece of equipment that we own, and so I said it. They have like these like pews, and so I turn, and there's like some folding chairs kind of in the corner. So I walk over, and I'm setting the stuff down, and as I turn, I'm so used to, I carry a flashlight with me at work in my cargo pant pocket, and I had my flashlight with me, and it hits the corner of the chair, and I was like, what is that? And I was like, I have my phone in my pocket. Why am I not taking video and audio with my phone? Like it dawns on me at that minute, like in, because I'm excited, I'm hyped up, we're all talking, and I get so like I said, Craig's the calm one, and I got I get so fired up. He goes, sits in the chair, and he was like, Jason, you should use your phone to record. And I went, that's a brilliant idea. I was like, who would have ever thought of that? After I went through the whole spiel just a second ago of putting all of our stuff down, and you basically have a mini computer in your pocket, and So I think I recorded, there was 5 or 6 videos, I believe, on my phone, like 6 to 7 minutes each. And of course, like, took probably 100 or so pictures, give or take, with just my phone. Like, after that, I was like, I'm not using the audio, the digital recorder. I'm not using my camera. Because I've got a Fuji, like 18 megapixels, 16 megapixels. I mean, it's a really nice digital camera.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, my phone is that. You know, like, and I was like, well, I don't know if she use it. So I used it the rest of the time we were there. And it was really cool because I was actually surprised. The video stuff came out amazing on there. And that was really my first time kind of doing the kind of the Gonsfeld deal. And Craig was sitting up in a chair kind of in front of everybody, and we were kind of back, and his back was to us. And they had the white noise, the white noise was going. And he had, I cannot think what he had. He was listening to the spirit box or whatever. I think it was a spirit box, because we had so many gadgets and stuff that it was just overwhelming. And we were like, okay, you know, and we were asking questions. Of course, Craig couldn't hear us. You know, he was just to say what came through the micro or the headset, the headphones, and it was insane. I mean, it was legit. Like, we were asking questions, and we were leaving probably, I don't know, 25, 30 seconds between each question. And I got tickled because I'm the type of person, I'll laugh at almost anything. I mean, even if it's not necessarily funny, I laugh because that's just my sense of humor.
Yeah, me too. I get in trouble for it sometimes.
I do, and I don't mean to be that way, but that's just kind of how I am. And so he's sitting in the chair, and we're sitting there, and I got to do a little demonstration, but it was really quiet and everything. And you know, one of the guys was like, you know, were you coming on a train here? You know, were you a passenger? Did you live in the town? Da da da. And he like blurts out the name. Now imagine, I mean, it's like super super quiet, and he just blurts out the name, like, I think it was like Susan, but it was like, so it was like it wasn't like you were in a gymnasium with like 600 people, and he was trying to scream over all those people because with the white noise and stuff, you know, he couldn't hear us. And it was like we would ask questions, and it was almost like somebody would get halfway through the question, and there he would say the answer, or he would say a name or a color or something that was so spot on, you know, like, and I'm sitting there and I'm recording all this stuff, and I'm just like, that is amazing, you know. And like I said, he can't hear us, he can't see us, and he gets done, and I think it was like went for like 6 minutes, I guess, and then we took like a minute or two break, and then the next person went. And you know, the place that we were at, it was built, I mean, it was like 1900s, 1890-ish, I think 1902, somewhere around in there. And the evidence stuff that we got was, I mean, crazy. Like, you know, you go to a place like that, and you're not expecting anything. You're just expecting, it's a historical site. It's it's on the historical register. You know, not a lot of people have been to it as far as a paranormal, doing an overnight investigation. It's open during the day for people to come visit, and you can give donations, you know, to help keep the museum. It's a working museum, and you know, we're sitting up there, and this was the first time we went, so we didn't really know what to expect. But the energy was so insane that by the time we got up to the main house, We took like a 10-15 minute break or whatever. And I'm standing outside. And of course, with the abilities and the gifts, it's like your mind is racing so fast. And you're getting all this energy from every different direction, because sometimes, you can see spirits and hear spirits. Sometimes you can see and hear at the same time, and it was like this flood of like, because we were standing outside by the parking lot where we were smoking, and and Craig's talking to me and stuff, and I'm just sitting there going, and I'm looking around, and it's just, I hear this, like whispers and stuff everywhere. And I'm like, you don't hear that? And he was like, what? We're on a break. And, but I was like, and he looks at me and he was like, you're hearing. And I laughed every time he said it. He's like, you're hearing shit again, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah. Then I said, I'm going to cut my break short and go inside. And it's like I went inside, and when I got with kind of everybody else, because I think there was like 8 of us total. And I went inside and everything was fine. It was calmed down. And, and that's like I said, Craig is like the skeptic. He's I will go to the outer ends of the earth to debunk whatever it is. He's a believer, but at the same time, he will check every door, every window, chair, desk, whatever, to debunk whatever, we catch on video or audio. And we had so much crazy stuff happen that night that we had went back to the hotel because we didn't spend the night. And it was like, I couldn't sleep. We'd been there for like, it was like a 7-hour investigation. And, and I'm in this hotel room and I'm pacing. And like, man, did you hear this on this floor? And this week we got this evidence on this floor and this and that. And I laugh because to me it's hilarious. And Craig looked at me and he was like, how long have we been doing this? And I'm like, a long time. And yeah, and I literally, I start counting in my brain. He was like, see, he goes, you're counting. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm counting. And he goes, so we've been doing it long enough that, and that's when I kind of started snickering. And he was like, he goes, I'm always calm after the investigation. You're always worked up. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's how it is, And I'm like, and I sit in the chair for a few minutes, and I get up and I walk, and I come back and sit in the chair for a few minutes, walk, and the whole time he's just sitting there, we're just talking, and bull crapping and stuff, and he was like, this never gets old. He's like, he goes, the experience and the stuff that we do, he's like, this never, it's something different, refreshing every time, that we do it.
Yeah, it really is. Like, and a lot of teams talk about it, the monotony of it, as far as a lot of it's pretty quiet and nothing's happening, and it just takes patience and different experiments and things. Like, I was trying to look up the experiment where you use period sound. Like, for instance, once I used Civil War sounds, and it triggered a spirit to manifest. But when you did this experiment, like, did it make you feel kind of weird or uncomfortable at first? Because, like you're saying, you got the white noise and all this other stuff. You can't hear your surroundings. You can kind of feel energies or whatnot, but
I couldn't even like feel I couldn't even, how like a lot of times when it's like dead quiet, you can kind of hear your heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you couldn't even hear that. I mean, it was like back, in the 80s when everybody had 3 channels, and the American flag came across the TV, and you knew it was midnight, and you really wasn't supposed to be up, but then it goes to the white noise. And, it was like that, but, you have headphones on. And that's why I got tickled, because that's what I was explaining to Craig. And I said, you know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, because he did it and he already knew. But him and another lady that was there, they kept hearing music, like real low music. And while they're doing the experiment, him and her both were like, we keep hearing music. When she was in her, she was like, I keep hearing music, but I can't make out the song.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so we're like, okay. And then this I think, I can't remember who, I think Dwayne went next or something. I think it was. And he never heard it. He never heard the music, you know. And then it was my turn. So when I did it, never heard the music whatsoever. I was trying to hear the music, you know. I was like, because when you have that kind of frequency constantly rolling, you know, you never know what can a tower can interfere with it. You know, AM radio station from 100 miles away. I mean, there's all kinds of variables. And I was sitting there listening, and I was just like, I don't hear music, and but I could hear voices like constant, and it was just like whispers, constant whispers the whole time. And and I didn't know this because, you know, you're completely kind of out of it, and they're recording it on their phones and digital recorders and stuff, you know, as we're doing it, and they start playing it back, and it's like they ask the questions, and it was like all of us that did it, it was like question, answer, what's your name, answer, you know. It was, and that's the first time I've been on an investigation in a long time where it has been a class A EVP, you know, dead to right, straight, you know. What color shirt do I have on? Black. You know, I mean, there was no hesitation, no, you know. And it was crazy, you know. It was refreshing.
Was that the most recent one you guys had done, or uh,
Well, that was we had actually went back. We went back probably. I'm trying to think. It was what is like September. We went back at the end of September, um, out there, and we actually did a private um, investigation. So there was four of us, five of us, and the um, Dwayne, which he is with the I can't think of the association with the house and stuff,
mhm.
and um, so it was us. So he didn't investigate or anything, and Dwayne's is like a veteran, seasoned investigator, and he was like, "I'm not here to investigate. I'll be on my laptop playing games downstairs. You know, it's your alls for, you know, like 5 o'clock to midnight." And I'm like, okay, and but this last time it was different. I mean, for me it was because we had went, you know, we'd been there once, and the strangest thing about this place is when we walked in the front door.
How do you get on
Um,
ABC Mouse?
Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
oh, it was like you were going back in time, but you were home. It was really weird. But it was very strange. Like you walked in the front door, and it was like I've been here before. Like the very first time we went, that's how I felt. You know, it had the smell of like your grandmother's house. You know,
Yeah.
like you walk in the door, and it's that smell, and you're like, you know, and you just want to go sit down and, you know, not really do anything. You know, you're kind of like on a mini vacation. But the second time we went, it was we walked in, and it was like, okay, they know we're here. You know, it's like it's a smaller group. It's more of kind of like a private, you know, investigation. Um, and we were sitting. They have this huge like dining room table. It's like 15-person dining room table, and we were all in the dining room. We're talking and stuff, and then they're like, okay, we're ready, and they're like, yeah, and okay, and they were like, there's 3 floors. Where do you want to start? You know, and we had the depot and the caboose or the train car to do. We had 3 different locations, and they're all like basically back to back. So we're like, well, we'll go on the second floor. And like I said, this is a working museum, so everything there is from the family. So, you know, there's stuff in there that's um, old, you know, not, you know, and stuff, glass cases, and you know, I'm always paranoid about that stuff because we're like, we got a little bit of equipment. We don't want to, touch something, break nothing. And so we go up to the second floor, and the way it's set up, it was like everything on the first floor was the kitchen and the office and, a couple other like bedrooms. Well, the second floor was mainly for guests. And then when you went to the third floor, they actually had a door that covered the steps. So the family stayed on the third floor. So when the family went to bed at night, they would actually take the door, put it over the steps, and lock it. So the people riding the train and stuff like that couldn't, I guess, come up there and bother them or whatever. So we go on the second floor, and there's two people sitting by the wall, and Craig's kind of across from them. And I walk over, stand in front of the door, and it felt weird because I was like, somebody's standing behind me. I was like, somebody is behind me. And and then when I turned around and I see this person kind of go into like the closet. And like I said, everything there is period. Like the beds, there's dresser, everything is exactly the same as it was. And I walk around and like they've got, and this is what got me. Every bathroom has a clawfoot tub and a pull chain commode. So I come around and every room, the bathrooms join. So you back then you shared a bathroom with somebody who was traveling too. I went in a corner and I looked, and there was nobody there, and I'm like, okay. So Richard we were doing 5-minute EVP blasts. He had his speaker, he had his digital recorder, and we did 5 minutes asking questions, and we did an immediate replay right then. And I walked out of the room, and I'm standing there, and everybody kind of asked a few questions, and I'm standing, and I went over and sat down because I felt really weird. Like I felt at a place kind of like, something's not right. And I went over and sat down and asked my question. I was like, there's 5 of us upstairs right now. I'm the only one talking. I was like, what's my name? And he does the 5-minute blast, comes back. We're all still sitting there. He's like, okay, stop. So he goes back on the digital recorder, and everybody's doing their questions. It comes to me, and like it's dead silence. About 25, 30 seconds between each question. I asked the question, and then all of a sudden, Jason is on the recorder. As clear as day, like, and I'm going, nobody said my name while we've been here, like at all. And that was kind of like validation, though. Like it was that, okay, we're here, we know you're here. We did some more investigating and stuff, and this was for me the best part of the night. We went up to one of the bedrooms, and it was one of the older ladies that had lived there, like one of the caretakers, and the carpet was red, like 60s red. That was the only room in the house that had that carpet. So everybody goes in, they sit down, and I'm the last one in the room. Excuse me, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, y'all just like take the seats. I don't have nowhere to sit. We're aggravating each other.
That's rude.
Yeah, and we're all laughing, and Richard's like, oh, you can just stand, it's fine, and we're all chuckling back and forth. And he was like, okay, he said, we're going to start the EVP, the blast session. So he starts it, and they're asking questions and stuff. And I was doing this as long as I've done it, I still joke around on EVP sessions, especially at places like this. Residential cases are completely different, but this is that spot, right? Like, so we're up there, and I'm like, it's me again. I know you know who I am, and everybody in here has a chair but me. I said, do I have permission to sit on the bed? And, these are antique beds. And, I'm like, well, if I don't have permission, let me know. I'll stand up right here by the door. I was like, but I'm asking permission ahead of time before I sit on the bed.
Yeah.
I said, that's how I was raised. Well, they go through like the 5 minute, 6 minute session there. Richard's like, okay, and stop. So he stops it. We start going back, and we're all, you can hear us laughing and cutting up. We start getting EVPs. I mean, Class A answers to their questions, that were there. And then you hear, and I ask the question, and you hear this lady's voice, plain as day. She's probably late 60s, early 70s, and I asked the question. I was like, do I have permission to sit on the bed? And you hear her go, I guess. Just like, so I start laughing, because none of us are hearing audible. And, so we all start laughing during the recording, as we're doing the playback. And I'm like, well, I said, do I have permission? Do I not have permission? That sounded kind of like it was iffy, one of those iffy answers, and everybody's laughing and I'm laughing. And so I take like 4 or 5 steps and I sit down on the side of the bed. Well, we all kind of calm down, for a second, and Richard starts the recording again, and we're talking and stuff. And I was like, I really appreciate you giving me permission to sit on the bed. If it was permission, I said, I don't want to like hound you or whatever. And so we're sitting there, and the bed like doesn't have a box spring. It has actual springs that go all the way across it.
Yeah,
and a mattress
connected to the frame.
That's it. Yeah, there's like nothing underneath, So, and I'm sitting there, and I feel kind of weird anyway, like sitting on this bed, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, I appreciate it and everything, and I thank you for letting me sit here, and I said, but I have a question I'm really curious about. Now, nobody there knows my middle name. Nobody knows it. Craig doesn't even know it. And we've been friends forever.
HollyWood. I'm just kidding.
And and that actually went through my mind when he started playing back the recording. So we're sitting there, and I didn't lay on the bed or anything. I just sat there. I was, professional. And we're all laughing, and doing EVP session stuff. And then he goes back and plays it. And I'll be damned if this lady did not call me by my middle name. She didn't tell me what my middle name was. She called me by my middle name. And I'm getting goosebumps even telling you this, because I'm sitting there and I'm going, and everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, no.
No, it's not your middle name, or no way.
No,
they're all trying to figure it out.
And they're like, well, and Craig was like, well, what is it? And I'm like, well, you heard what the recording said, so Richard played it back again, and it called me by my middle name, and I'm going, okay, this is either somebody I know, or this is a spirit, that's legit here, or I've been here in a past life. That was my kind of 3, things of how this happened. There's no way, because nobody there knew it, and it kind of, I've been in this for a long time. And not only do you get your name called out in an investigation, they say your middle name, and that's like, and it was kind of cool for us, like a split second, and then I started kind of freaking out in my mind, and I'm like, okay, maybe they know a lot more about me than I want them to.
Well, I mean, even when you said they know my name, and I'm thinking of all these paranormal shows that I watch, and they do know the person's name, whether they've been there before or not. And it's like, how do they know? Right. And it makes me think of like a telephone chain or whatever. Like the word travels, mm-hmm. So-and-so is coming or whatnot. So maybe that could be, or maybe it could be, like you said, telepathy and being able to read people's thoughts, or maybe like as far as our aura, we might have different things, like different tattoos spiritually that show, our names, right. And different things like that. It's really interesting, mm-hmm. Because like you said, nobody knew your name, even your best friend there. Oh. And so they're all looking at you like, well, is it? And you're like, no way.
Yeah, and that's the thing that threw me off was, I've been in investigations where, I've had my name called. on the video, on the audio, stuff like that. It doesn't really bother me. But when it was a directive about my middle name, how your mom, would you would get in trouble and that's what would happen, and you're going. And when I heard it, I just sat there on the side of the bed and I went, "Holy shit!" Like this is I need to like mind my p's and q's because this was one of those times of okay, what have I done? And I'm sitting there up all, and everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, did I sit on the wrong side of the bed? Did I, and and they start laughing at me, and it's just one of those things about being an investigator. Like you never prepare yourself for that to happen because a lot of times you ask those questions expecting not to get a reply.
Yeah.
You don't and then when it happens, and even though it's happened to me before, it's just like it's mind boggling sitting there going because then the way my mind is, I'm sitting there trying to think of every logical explanation. Do I had family that's visited there before? In the 1900s, a family has passed through. All this stuff, and it starts. In my mind's going 90 miles a minute.
It could be because I've noticed that too. A lot of times on investigations or going back to a haunted place that you've been before, your family will go with you, like your family that's passed and is on the other side, because we do have people call them guardian angels or I can't remember, guides, and that's generally your family, trying to help you through this chaotic place they call life. But yes. It could have been a family member that said that because they knew. Grandma.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it kind of stuck with me a little bit. But it was just I haven't had that happen on an investigation in years. That class A, you get EVPs and stuff when you go to investigation, that's I don't really know how to explain it. Every EVP to me is like exciting, and I'm like, yeah, we call it, whether it's one EVP or 100. Yeah. I still get excited to hear it. When we got, I think Richard was counting. He was marking down on a notepad. I believe what it was, like a little steno pad. And I think his digital recorder actually like counts how many times he stopped. And yeah, exactly. And when we got ready to leave, I want to say we had caught 164 Class A EVPs within a 7-hour period.
That is amazing.
I've never been to a place that active. There was nothing harmful about it or anything like that, but I've never been to. I've been to some crazy places, but as far as a place to go to actually experience what it's like, as an investigator, doing what we do, it was crazy. When Richard said something, he was like, yeah, I think we 144, 147 or something. And we're sitting in the dark, it's like 30 minutes before we're getting ready to leave or whatever. And I'm going, there's no way, that's not possible. And we caught probably 20 or 30 more in that 30 minutes before we left. And, and I'm just sitting there going, this is crazy. This is craziness.
I'm sorry, I made that face like there was a really weird sound that just came from outside. It was weird. It kind of sounded like a Indian war cry and something else. Continue. Like, what the hell was that? I've never heard that in the neighborhood before.
When I saw you, and I was like, should I keep talking?
I'm like, what the fuck over? There's something out there. Close the window.
That's hilarious. But
Well,
that
it's
was, I mean, that's the
awesome.
last. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's awesome, that you guys did get so many EVPs and such, and like you said, he's recording it like Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives, like a little detective with his steno. Um, that is a lot for one place for one night. That's insane.
Yeah.
And it kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know, just that's evidence right there. And a lot of them are Class A, right?
Yes. I mean, it was. We would ask a question and it would answer. Whatever spirit was there at that time. I think there was 3 or 4 different spirits that were with us the entire night. But that wasn't even. Um,
All right, well, we've been invaded by Lily, who is demanding to be on ABC Mouse. Holy
That's
shnikes.
funny.
Oh, I cannot have a day to myself or anything for myself. Come on, Boog. I'll be out there in a minute. Be nice. Fine. You can stand there. Um, but yeah, just, that's more evidence that there is something on the other side. And when people don't believe that or they think it's something else, it's demons. I have family members that think that. I have friends that think that. And it's really
Yep.
quite annoying to me because I know it's
Yeah.
not. It even says so in the Bible. If you're a biblical person, it says so
Yeah.
several times in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes to one of my things of I've of course I think we've discussed this on the other couple of shows, but growing up in the South and being Southern Baptist, that's a huge thing, and we've discussed that a time or two. But it's and even it says in the Bible, it says spirit and it says ghost and Holy Ghost and and stuff, and that's the thing that a lot of people they don't want to believe in it, or maybe they don't understand it, so that maybe causes them to not want to believe, I guess.
Yeah, and it does have a lot to do with belief and how you were raised, so on and so forth. But
Hmm.
um, I mean, even though they've experienced it, I know they've had experiences. Maybe they just pray it off or whatnot and think it is demons. But
Right.
it's pretty. I don't know. Even I think with a lot of people, even if it slapped them in the face, they still
Hmm.
won't take it because they have other beliefs and so much going on in their life. Like they really just can't handle it or wrap their minds around it. It's
Right.
interesting to say the
Right.
least. But my niece, she's had paranormal experiences, and we were just talking the other day, supposedly. Well, I know I heard that Israel is now its own thing, and she said something about Trump having a hand in that. I'm not sure because I've been away from the news and a lot of
Hmm.
outside things as of late, but that's one of the signs of the end of times, or they call it the tribulation, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And it's amazing that
Yeah.
even when COVID first broke out, it just seemed
Hmm.
like, is the veil getting thinner or what? Because paranormal activity kicked up, UFO activity kicked up. But even my own
Yep.
sister, she's like, I've always been able to see and hear spirits, but now it's like 100 times worse. And it's that way for a lot of people, not only that, but sleep patterns, dreams. Like for me,
Yes.
when I dream, that's my break time, that's my away time, that's my time for me to rest.
Right.
And there's no
Right.
rest for me because I'm constantly working or
Yeah.
doing something in my dream to the
Hmm.
point where I'm not really getting the rest I need.
Right.
Have you had that
Yeah.
too?
I mean, yes. Yeah. Um I've got a real good friend of mine, Cheryl. Um, she lives out in Oklahoma, and we talk on a daily basis, Facebook message, you know, and I'll message her and I'll be like, I woke up and, this is like as I'm driving to work, and I'm like, yesterday wasn't that bad, but today, I'm not even sure why I'm driving. Like I'm not even sure, like I feel so weird that, I'm not even sure. I know I'm going to work. I know what I'm doing. I know I got to go by Walmart, whatever, and it's just like the energy and the atmosphere is such off kilter that, it's like this, I don't want to get up, because I sleep probably maybe 4 or 5 hours, a night, maybe. And that's not because I want to. That's just because, that's just how I am. And, it's like when I do go to sleep, it's like that 2 hours of like stage 3 sleep. I never make it to like the fourth realm of sleep, and it's like my alarm goes off and I'm like, okay, well, excuse me, I only went to bed like, 4 hours ago, whatever.
And I'm like, why is that going off? I just went to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just got comfortable, and then your alarm goes off, and that's what I was talking to her the other day. I was like, I said, is it just me? I said, or is the world spinning so much faster? Is the veil just because the veil thins in October anyway, and on Halloween it's the thinnest it is all year long, and I was like, we're approaching Halloween. We've got these jacked up full moons, like, going on like 2 a week. It seems like you got the retrograde. You've got all this stuff, and I'm like, should I even leave the house today?
Right?
And I'll send her these messages. I'm like, I'm dressed. I'm sitting in my car in the driveway.
Contemplating.
Should I even, get on the interstate and drive to work? And I've never, I know that's the way I feel. And yeah. And I've noticed too, and it's not, I don't know if it's more of a human thing or if it's an energy thing, but when I'm driving or I go somewhere, it's like the atmosphere around people, I can see it. I can see their energy. I can see what color, aura they have, and the ruder they are, the worse it is. You walk by somebody in the store and you're like, excuse me, and they don't even say nothing. They just like blow you off or whatever. And sometimes I just want to look at them and be like, look, I'm an empath and your energy is pretty shitty right now. Okay, you really need to get that fixed.
Y'all need Jesus.
But you can't. but yeah, exactly. No, but that's the thing. That's like what you're. That's what we have. That's our gifts. And the last time I went to a grocery store, it was the same thing. It was like I left work and I was like, okay, let's do this because I don't want to go and do anything. Yeah. I'm so like, I went to the grocery store and I'm like, I don't have a list or nothing. You know what? We're going to wing this, okay? I know what I normally eat, so let's get this done and get out of here. And, I get my buggy and it's like I walk in the store and you feel it. It's like as soon as those doors open, it's like, and you got your mask on and you're like, this mask is not working. Because I need something to block out all this energy,
So you gotta do this and create your little ball shield and make it bigger and bigger and bigger to where the light surrounds you. Because like you're saying, a lot of these auras, it reminds me of Pigpen, but spiritually, like, looks like a dust cloud, but it's just your aura and all the dirtiness and stuff going on in there.
Yep.
It's such a stressful, crazy time, and
it is.
I don't know. COVID is still fucking a lot of people up. It's not nice. It's not fun, and a lot of worlds have been turned upside down. I don't like to let a lot of that stuff get to me. I just try to keep on swimming or fly by the seat of my pants or whatever gets me through. But like you said, I'll wait till the very, very last of, okay, well, we have to go because we're out of milk and the kids need milk or whatever. So I'll go and I won't have a list, but I'll try to keep track. I always forget something. But just to try to get through that. There's certain hours that are better than others. Try to go weekdays when people are at school and work and stuff, but sometimes you can't do that, especially like with you working so much. But on that note, we do have to go to our first musical break. We got Dan Medina from Gravity, which is from Krakow, Poland, with I Won't Let You Go. We have Michaelan Hay with Devil You Know, Close, and Nothing But Blood, as well as Mirror. And then we have Fred Johnson with After Dark. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
Things come being said, streets of these high going to dead end. Listening to waves on windy days, standing by the wall, making sense of it all. So alone in the dark, all alone in the dark. All alone in the dark, you're alone in the dark. 'Cause I won't let you go. You're so far away, always with my soul. I won't let you go. Oh, you're so far away, always with me in my soul. Yeah, yeah. Looking for a reason, not a lead. Mystified, lives inside a world selling us all. Oh, she's alone in the dark, all alone in the dark, all alone in the dark, so alone in the dark. 'Cause I won't let you go. I won't let you go. You're so far away, always with me in my soul. Yeah, yeah. And I won't let you go. And I won't let you go. Your troubled heart bleeds like a river. It's rushing towards fields painted greener. It doesn't see the demons behind, praying you're getting close to the line, so they can get their hands on love and trade it off for silver. The curtain's nice, but what it hides is worse than sticks and stones. Before you climb the fence tonight, look through the microscope. surprised I worked out a smile, out a smile, out a smile. 'Cause I've grown and I've changed. Yeah, we went separate ways. How come we're both back here? 'Cause you pushed me away, let my life rearrange, but still we're both back here. Back here. Close to me, I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me, close to me. You know how to make me lose all control, all control. I should know when I need to let myself go. So let's go. Close to me, I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. I'm not the same, I'm not the same, I'm not the same person anymore. I'm not the same, I'm not the same, I'm not the same. I want you close to me, I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. I want you close to me. I can see that you wanted me. Follow me, baby, just follow me. Trust me, baby, get close to me. There's too much sky, too blue, too white. The birds on the wire are singing, but I don't know why. Why aren't the roses hanging their heads? They're standing straight up, blooming instead. Now that we're apart, there's nothing but blood in my heart. Why does that guy have a smile on his face? Why is the sun even shining today? Why are the headlines talking about love? Don't they all know what happened to us? Now that we're apart, there's nothing but blood in my heart. there's nothing. Now that we're apart, there's nothing but blood in my heart. Blood in my heart. Blood in my heart.
My driver pulls up in my limousine, ready to take me anywhere I want to be. I say, I want to go. Take me to a college scene. I'd like to go and dance, have drinks, and hunt the perfect day. Yeah. Living at the dark, I search lonely streets to find hidden shadows in the dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Secret homicides arranged in a series of pursuits. No matter what I say, after dark, I gave her base because she had the range. I knew she was the one that never could go home again. Plastic life like limo seats. I don't know why I can't control this urge to hurt again. Yeah. Living at the dark, I search lonely streets to find hidden shadows in the dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Changes in the sky, murder forever after. No matter what I say, after dark. Feeling ran to arguments and fear. Behind a place with days of December. Concerning works published in the image. It doesn't matter what I say. It really doesn't. No matter what I say, after dark. It doesn't matter what I say. Secret homicides arranged in a series of pursuits. No matter what I say, change in the sky, murder forever after. It doesn't matter what I say. Rude and fatal, lacking the hint of conscience. No matter what I say, after dark.
Welcome back and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we are joined by Jason HollyWood Fife from Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives. Welcome back, Jason, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Okay, so we left off on all the crazy energies in the store when you go out and all the crazy
Yes.
shenanigans going on out there, and a lot of us are empathic and gifted and dealing with that, and it just seems like it's just out of control. Did you have anything else to say about that? I know you were about to say something, and I had to cut you off to go to break. But
you're fine. It's just a lot. It's a lot going out, and a lot of people I've ran into. It's kind of weird with people that are empathic or have gifts. And I say this as in a broad spectrum of people. we're very recluse. We're homebodies most of the time. We do what we need to do, and we come home to our safe place. It's not a for me personally. It's been a long journey to get to where I'm at. To actually, because a lot of people aren't necessarily open to being empathic or to have, to say, hey, I can hear and see spirits. And at the same time, I'm very emotional, for no reason a lot of times. And, and, and that's, yeah. And that is it's like a commercial comes on TV and I'm going, why are you showing me this? And I'm sitting there going, I'm like, what is wrong with me? But no, I get it. I completely understand. 10, 12 years ago, really not that much of an idea. Because I'll never stop learning, just like none of us will, as far as in the paranormal field. But especially when, I don't know, I in a way, like especially now in October, I caught some heat for a post I put on Facebook, and
You want me to kick their ass? No, I'm just kidding.
no. It was. I'll be the first one to admit I'm very vocal, I'm very outspoken, but I had posted on Facebook that I have been noticing a lot of witches popping up here in the past
I
couple
saw
weeks.
that. Yeah, like everybody's a witch now, and it's true. I've seen I don't know how many. I don't know if it's because the new friends we've gotten or the new groups that we've been added to, but holy shit, darts.
It may be, and being empathic or having gifts, you already know who dabbles in the dark arts and who doesn't, and people are like, oh my God, he said dark arts, and I'm like, yeah, you're dabbling in stuff that not a lot of the mainstream people, know nothing about, or, the people that claim to be, witches or whatever have, they don't understand it. And I posted this because I was scrolling through my news feed, and I'm like, every other person on here, and I probably got like 1,000 people on my Facebook page, maybe whatever, 800 or whatever. It's not that much. And I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, well, this person, I'm not gonna say any names, but I'm like, this person wants to move to Salem, Massachusetts. Oh, that's odd. Last month they were wanting to move to Florida. I mean, it's and I'm sitting there, and that's just an example. But I'm like scrolling through, and I'm going, no, it's not something you just pick and choose. It chooses you. You don't really have a choice in the matter. And when I posted that, of course I had people comment on it and stuff, which is fine. But then I had people message me, and they're like, why are you calling, saying people aren't real witches and this and that? And I'm like, are we really going to have like this type of discussion
Well,
like
you
right
didn't
now?
even say that. You said it seems like everybody's a witch these days, which is true. And like I said before, it seems like more people are noticing their gifts, so maybe that's it. Or maybe, it ain't football season, it's Halloween season.
Right. And I get tickled. And one of my good friends, she messaged me, and I get tickled because I don't know. It's like it's my sense of humor. And she messaged me, and she was like, she goes, I have some potions I just made. She goes, would you like me to make you some potions and stuff? And I start laughing, because I know this person like legit like does this, like she is, a witch, like that's her, she's into witchcraft, that's her thing, she's always been into it. And And I start laughing, and I'm like, no, they're not ready for you. They're not ready. They're, you're up here, and there's other people up here with you, but everybody else is kind of like down here. And you would like completely destroy their minds if like said something or posted something, and she's like, and I got tickled. She's like, yeah, you're probably right. And that was in our discussion, and I start laughing because I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But that kind of goes along with the paranormal community or the paranormal world is that's this stigma that's placed on us a lot of times. You deal with spirits.
You're a member of the occult.
Yes.
I'm like,
yes,
I am?
I was like, well, gee, nobody's gave me a card or anything, or nobody's,
Where's my ring?
I haven't got the secret decoder ring, that lets me secret messages and stuff. And I just think it's funny. And I don't say this in a bad way, for the people who's listening or watching. And I don't mean disrespect. But there are not as many witches out there that you think there are.
Right.
There's not this like, every out of 10 people, 4 of them are witches or whatever. It's nothing like that. But that's the stigma that gets attached to us, and they're like, you're in the paranormal community. What do you do? Like, you have a cauldron at your house, and do you like do all this like stuff? And, and it's like, and I sit there and I'm just going, are we having this conversation at this moment? Like, you're really asking me this stuff?
You're
Yeah,
like
and
looking
I'm
around?
I'm going, are you really talking to me? Are you asking me this? But that's what a lot, because of the movies and TV shows and stuff. That's the idea that people have. It's like, well, you say you talk to spirits and you can hear them and see them, so it's got to be something that's, and I'm like, you've watched too many ghost hunter shows. You've watched too much Ghost Adventure. You've watched too much of this mainstream.
Waiting for you
stuff,
to go into your Zach Baggins drama zone.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's coming on now. I feel it.
Yeah. And I was talking to an acquaintance the other day, and we were casual conversation, and I was like, and I don't know why I did this, because sometimes I don't think before I say stuff, and I was like, do you know that like out of every 20 people you meet, 3 of them are possessed? They're like, oh my god, are you serious?
They're like,
and I'm like, and I caught what I said, and I was joking. I wasn't even saying it in like any kind of like, and they're like, are you serious? So, like out of every like 20 people that I actually meet on the street or at Walmart or Kroger's or wherever, that like they're actually like possessed by something. I was like, no, I'm kidding. I was like, and they were taking me literally like this was a, and I'm going, no.
I'm
I
just
said,
flipping shit, dude.
and I know I laugh and stuff, but I'm just like, but that's what people think. That's how they see it because of the Ghost Adventures, because Zach, when he goes out, and I don't know him personally or anything like that, but it's like, every show, something's attached to him or something's happening, and, and there are, go ahead.
I just feel like, okay, so Aaron, he's my favorite because he reminds me of my Evans side of the family with the hairline and the lankiness and everything and being gifted. And every time he goes out somewhere, like Zach's locking him in a room or in the attic or wherever by himself, and he's so gifted that things do come to him and touch him or,
Yes.
I don't know, attack, like they're trying to get his attention. They manifest so on and so forth, and every time he feels bad, like something's happening to him and he needs to get some air, then Zach's like, oh my god, something's attaching to me. And it's like, could you have an original
Yes.
idea? That'd be nice, but he's doing a
Yeah.
good job. Obviously, he's making millions of dollars doing what he's doing, but I like Aaron.
Yeah.
He's true to form.
Yes.
Zach's a little
Yes.
dramatic for me.
Yeah, yeah, and people ask me, like what we do and stuff, and when I hand out like business cards and stuff like that, the people that like I don't meet a stranger when I go somewhere, and that's my gift of gab from my family, like my mother's side, like I don't meet a stranger, I can talk to anybody, it just doesn't, that's just who I am, and I remember I was at the grocery store a couple months ago. This was right when the pandemic kind of slowed down. Everybody was getting back out, and and I was walking through, and that this was the T-shirt is actually this was our original T-shirt we had made in 2007, and I had it on, and I was walking through the grocery store, and this lady stops me, and and she was like, and she was older, and she was like, "Are you on TV?" And I stopped, and I'm going, like, because I didn't really want to answer, but I didn't want to be rude and not pay attention, and I was like, no, I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. And I said, but this is our group, and and she's like, I love those TV shows. She goes, that stuff is real, and and I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to say because my empathic stuff starts kicking in, and and I don't want to be rude or an asshole or anything, and I'm talking to her, and I was like, well, I said we do this, and I explained to her, what we do, and I said we don't make money off what we do, we do it for free. I said, if you know anybody that needs our help or whatever, I gave her one of our business cards, and she just like she looks at me and she was like, if you're not famous, I don't have anything to do with you. And I literally like stood there and went, oh, okay. I was like, I'm sorry I'm not on TV or, like nationally known, but and it was just a wild experience, with that. And it was sobering at the same time because that's what people think, that's what they see, and that's what they think that we do, the hour-long shows. That's what,
That ain't the real, but it's cool that she's like, that stuff is real because that stuff is real, but you got to be careful what you're watching, who you're paying attention to, whatever, because
yes,
a lot of that stuff is faked.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier,
yes,
you could be somewhere for hours or days or weeks or whatever and get nothing. And it's all about the love of it. You love what you're doing,
Yep.
and you're trying to help people on this side and the other. And so it's like you said,
Yes.
you don't know what to say. You don't want to insult her. Yeah, this stuff is real, but there's a lot of it
Right.
that's so dramatized, or like I said, it takes days, and they'll put together little portions of that. Damn, Mr. Baca, you're
Yeah.
hairy.
But yeah, and I know, that was what, and I've had this similar like conversation, with, and this was the first time I spoke, to Caden and Alyssa on the phone. Caden and Alyssa Mask, with Southern Descendants, and there was a case or whatever they had got, and I was closer to it than they were, and we were talking on the phone and stuff, and it was like, this was a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Never talked to these people before, never heard of their group, nothing. And I talked to Caden. I forget, he had me on speakerphone, and and we're talking about the case and stuff, and da 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 da. And I got off the phone because I'm a pacer when I'm on the phone, whether
Yeah, me too.
And I'm walking back and forth the house, and I'm through the house, and I remember telling him, I was like, hey, I'm a pacer, so if you hear footsteps, it's me. You're not going crazy. I'm just like, and we talk for like 15, 20 minutes, and we're trying to figure out what we need to do to help this family out, and, who's closer and who can get there if we need to, and when I got off the phone, it was amazing because from that day forward, it's like a connection, with another paranormal team, with actual, people that are in it to help other people. And once that happened, it was like this bond or whatever. It was like this, okay, I've got some people here that, I can actually message or call, and they're not going to think I'm, batshit crazy because, because, it's like I have a legit issue, and, they're like, okay, what do we need to help? We're this far away, or they'll call me or us, and, and we talk and stuff. And it's just like, I don't really feel, and I know I'm probably like trailing here a little bit, but I don't really feel there are a lot of people out there like that in the community at this point, that unity and solidarity is like, it doesn't matter what's going on. If there's somebody that needs help or needs something, I actually know genuine people that will drop what they're doing and be like, what do you need on this case? Do we need to do a video call? Do we need to do a conference call? Do we need to do this, or whatever? And
Alyssa
me,
said,
that's
instant family.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
what I felt when even before I met them, like you said, it was an online connection. And then I had them on the show and just talking to them on the after party and stuff. And then we finally got to meet in NOLA, New Orleans, and it was just awesome. Like, there was a distraction because my sister was there, and she is just this ball of energy and light, and it's very distracting and somewhat not conscious of other people's needs at times. But she's blonde, you can't blame her. But they were so amazing, even in person. And so when other people come along and try to put them down, I'm just like, who the F are you to even be saying this? Like, you don't even know these people. Like, these people are amazing.
Exactly.
They're some of the most amazing people that I've ever known, like you are. And it's like instant family or instant connection. Like, we have this connection, whether it's family or not. And you cannot deny that with no matter how much bullshit and stuff people want to talk. They're just so amazing. And I'm so lucky and grateful to have them in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was kind of one of the things. I was sitting, like, when I was messaging you earlier about the show, and you're like, hey, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and I'm sitting there going, this is a topic that not a lot of people want to talk about. They don't want to, and they don't want to talk about the para unity. They don't want to talk about teams helping other teams. They don't want to talk about this or that, because they want to kind of keep all the stuff to themselves, like, look what we got, or look what we did, or whatever. And truly, it's a blessing, like, not only with with yourself, but with them, having that connection, and, being able to pick the phone up and message or call or whatever, and be like, look, I just had the most craziest, like, this person emailed me. I don't know what's going on. I'm forwarding you this email. What do you think? You can't do that with a lot of people, a lot of teams and stuff in the paranormal community. You can't, because they're going to read the email or text message or whatever and be like, oh, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, we'll just pass over it and go on. No, because they read between the lines, because they've done it for so long and they get it. They're meant to do this stuff. It's not, hey, I saw a TV show and this is what I want to do, or whatever. And I can't say this enough about them and you as well, because it's that people don't have that. Well, they don't have it. They don't have it because I'm seeing so many teams out there right now that will completely destroy and try to tear down other teams. And I'm sitting there going, no, we don't do this.
Yeah, and there's that para-unity thing that somebody came out with, which I think is awesome. And they're like, para-unity doesn't exist. Just like the same people that say men and women can't be friends, like they're always wanting to, screw or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to be more open-minded than that, because it does exist. And look, we got Caden and Alyssa. Hello.
What's up, guys?
We can't hear you. Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
I heard HollyWood, and I was like, what is this for?
I'm liable to say crazy stuff at any moment. You know me, so, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
He's just trying to keep up with my crazy ass. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, y'all.
We're getting all the country folks in here.
Yep.
Makes me feel right at home.
I don't have that bad of an accent, Hills of East Tennessee, that little twang,
You got the twang, man. You got the
Oh, gosh. No, not the twang.
Yes, you got the twang.
My twang comes out when I'm around other twangers.
Yeah, yours does. Yours in 2020 started coming out.
What'd you say again? Oh, it started coming out?
Yeah. It was like 24 hours and yours started coming out with us.
Yeah, it doesn't take me very long, and even when I had it, I didn't notice it until I moved from Arkansas to Florida, and I say the instead of the or whatever, and they're like, it's not the, it's the, and all this other ridiculous stuff, and so I was really self-conscious about my accent, so I really tried to get rid of it, and now I have a Colorado accent, which is just a bunch of accents together, but when I go back home, yeah, it really does come out, or when I get on the telephone with my family or you guys, it just makes me feel at home, and it just... What?
I moved to Texas for 2 years? Something like that. And even in Texas, they were like, dang, girl, where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. And they ended up, my nickname was Zip. They
Zip?
called me Mississippi.
Aww.
And I'm like, I thought Texas was a southern state. But they would. They talk a little more proper than we do. I mean, I didn't expect that. It kind of blew my mind. That was probably the craziest time or experience with my accent I've ever had. No, Jason was hyping us up, being all modest about himself. Right. Everybody needs to know how awesome Jason HollyWood the Fife is.
Yeah.
I'm blushing. I'm getting
That's
hot.
why I'm like, I gotta have him back every month, or I'm gonna go through withdrawals.
It's that type of dude. He's a dude's dude, and he's a lady. He's good all the way around. He has a golden soul, and it's very obvious if you ever have an opportunity to have any sort of conversation with him at all about anything, you can just tell. And, he was talking about how he connected with us, and we feel the same way. There's just not a lot of people out there, and even with Tessa, when you communicate with people on the phone and you see them and you Skype with them and all this, but you're miles and miles apart, and you kind of get this concern about how it's going to be when you meet them face to face. We didn't have that with, we weren't concerned at all. It's weird. Never concerned about any of that. And it wasn't. It was like meeting your family, you break it and awesome, and you just go. And you don't find that. And I really think it makes me emotional to talk about it. I just don't feel like people get lucky enough to find that in life.
We hit the jackpot.
We hit the jackpot because not only did we find that in our lives, we found that inside of a field that we're all extremely passionate about.
Yeah.
And those two together are just freaking awesome. People don't do that. You don't meet people like that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen. all have these, these chords that link us in these amazing ways, and it's awesome. It's so awesome, and it's beautiful, and I love it.
Yeah,
I
you
love
know,
Me
it.
too.
Fife was talking about a lot of teams don't want to talk about paired unity, and that's kind of a really touchy subject with a lot of us because these days it really is. But I mean, it's not about calling another team and doing a tit for tat. Like if I called Jason, I was like, "Hey man, I have this case up in your area. Can you take it?" Yeah, I'll take it, but I need a favor from you. Like it's not like that. Like, yeah, man, what? Give me the details. What's the name? What's going on? And that really is what separates, those people who are para-cult and para-unity.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we'll help in any way that we can. And I know for a fact, and not just with paranormal wise, but personal wise.
Yeah.
And he's going to answer the phone, and we haven't even met the man yet in person.
Mhm.
So, I mean, anybody that does that is A-okay in my.
You almost said that word.
I did.
He's like,
See that's why I like you guys so much is because Craig, we're best friends and we've done this for so long together. And if like with him, I have the same rapport with you guys because if I'm if I'm doing something or if I have evidence or something and I send it to you and I'm like, hey, I see this in there, I see that in there, you're gonna be straight up with me. You're not gonna be like, no, well, yeah, I see it too. You're gonna be like, no, man, there's nothing in the picture. I don't know what you're looking at or whatever. Go back and look through it and go from there. And there's a lot of people out there that will just agree with you to agree and not, call you out, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of like, for me, that's the best thing because that's like we were talking earlier. I get so hyped up. Like I get on this whole other level. And, if I'm out doing an investigation and I get choked up because I don't know, I get emotional when I talk about it. But, it's like when Craig is out there and he just, he reels me back in, to a point of like, okay, calm down, go take 5 minutes, bring yourself back and we'll figure this out,
Yeah.
and that's the same thing with you guys because I know where I stand and I don't have to question it, and a lot of people out there, they don't get it or they don't want to get it because, they're all about, I got to get this picture out there or I've got, our team has to make this or, or whatever. And this whole thing is never about that. It's not about us, it's about us helping other people. And,
Exactly.
and a lot of people have lost focus on that.
Mhm.
And that's just,
because
that's
of the
how I
ego.
feel.
And the ego fucks so many things up. The Bible, the law, like so many different things the ego has messed up. And now the paranormal, like there's people you think you can trust,
Yep.
but in reality, you
Yep.
realize you can't. And they can't be like you and I and Caden and Alyssa. There are good people out there, but you got to be wary of it,
Yes.
And it's sad that you have to be like that to be unsure of what steps you're taking or whatnot to try to, I don't want to say judge that person because I don't like to judge anybody, but
Yeah.
in order to kind of get the feel of who is this person and what are their motives. And they're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, well, drama's going to make me bigger. In reality, it's not. It's going to make you look like an ass, even though you think it's going to, the trolls will like it. Trolls like that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
otherwise, real life people, even last week on this show, I was just like, these negative comments, these negative attitudes, I can't handle it right now. I have so much negativity pressing down on me. Just one more little tiny ounce of negativity and I'm gone. Like, I can't handle it. So could you guys, like, bring me some positivity? Because that's what I really need. And I don't know. It's just sad when teams get like that because of the ego.
Yeah.
I was in here thinking that, like, you're glowing, Tess.
Your whole energy just looks so much better than it did last week. Like you are glowing.
Thank you. Yeah, I was terrible. I was just like, no more.
But you look like you are rested. You look like you are in a better place, and like your whole energy just looks way better.
It's because I'm on the phone with Jason, you know.
My face red or anything, or what?
That beard's on the red here in a second.
What?
No, I mean, it is. And like I tell people, I'm not saying that me and Alyssa are perfect. And I know Jason's not saying that he's perfect. And you're not saying that you're perfect, Tessa. We're all bound to be the villain in somebody else's story for whatever reason.
I think we're just very transparent.
We probably are the villain in a lot of people's story because we're so blunt. We're not, just like Jason said, if I don't agree with you, I'm not going to agree just to save face. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't agree with you. So if it makes them mad at me, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to lie.
I was thinking about that when Jason was talking about it, and a little bit off the top of what you're talking about now, it made me think back a couple of years ago. There was an incident where, he said there are people that will be like, yeah, I agree with you, blah, blah, blah. There were times where we had a certain group of people get angry. Like, they would get their personal feelings would get hurt because you were like, oh, that's not this. And even though, I will say, even though we're extremely blunt, if anybody's ever experienced that with us, then some might not agree. I do think that we are very honest in a polite way. We don't try to come across as if we know exactly what we're talking about, or you're stupid and you're wrong, because we have come across people who approach situations like that with, they'll come back and talk to you like you're ignorant, or what you're talking about. And I would never want to make anybody feel that. And I don't want to speak with Caden, but I'm going to know him. He doesn't ever want to make anybody feel like ever. So, but when he was talking about that, I got to thinking back about situations we were put in where we were asked about, what do you see here? Or what do you see there? Or did you hear this? Blah, blah, blah. And because you don't agree, it became there was a lot of tension, and they were angry, and it was almost like they felt like we were disrespecting them in a way. And I don't really understand. I've tried to understand that.
It's to disagree. If you disagree, you're disrespecting me. No, that's not true.
Well, for me, that's their ego.
Or to me, like, if I'm wrong, I will own it. Like, I'll bet by it. Okay. Well, I was wrong. Whoops. You right. My bad. I learned something. I'm all about learning. But it's, just like if I were to send Jason a video and be like, hey, man, I think I really got something awesome. And he'll look at it and be like, well, I see what you're talking about, but have you thought about the possibility of this? Because that's what I'm leaning towards. I'm not going to get mad. Be like, all right, dude, let me watch it a couple times and see what you're saying. And I may come back and say, you know what, you're wrong. That was blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't get mad,
I really think that's just ego. That's bad.
Well, I just want to say, you guys are awesome, and I know it, and if anybody has any doubts about it, kick rocks, because you have no clue.
I'm telling you, us and Jason and Craig and them, we're gonna get over.
We're gonna rule the world.
We're gonna rule.
Well, I think our next meetup needs to be in Tennessee. Last time it was in New Orleans, so I want to plan a trip with my taxes and go to Tennessee. One of my secret trips, as my husband would say. I'm like, I tell you about this shit. How is it a fucking secret? But,
we were preparing to go to New Orleans.
Yeah, this time last year we were days away from New Orleans.
We were communicating back and forth. It was it was on our memories.
Oh yeah, it was October for me. I think it was 17th or 18th. Yeah, holy shnikes. Wow.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like a year.
No, this year's just flown by because it's been nuts.
It's been insane.
For me, it's been a big year. For me, good and bad, but my good is way too bad. 2020 was a shit year for a lot of people. A lot of shit went wrong. My personal growth in 2020 was phenomenal, and
you had to do everything the hard way.
Yeah,
yeah, it's funny. The different memes or memes or whatever you call them that I'd share. Like if this were a swing, it'd be 2020, and it's a swing built right next to a brick wall, or cereal with the cigarette butts in it, or different random things. Like if this was cereal, this would be 2020, or if this was that, it'd be 2020, because it was so fucked up on so many different levels. But I think it's, you make a lot of mistakes, but if you learn from them, they're not mistakes, they're lessons, and that's how you grow. That's how you learn, and that's how you become who you are.
2020 is personal growth for everybody. We've molted out of these toxic relationships, whether it be friendships or family ships or work ships, whatever.
Yep.
Molted out of them, we've shed them away, and we've blossomed into the freaky, crazy caterpillar butterflies now.
I do. When COVID first hit, we did a show on another network. For really awesome. Sorry.
Oh my God.
No, I just told him he's less red now.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Looking back, I remember
I'm back right now.
Oh,
But
about what we thought
yeah,
about COVID.
Yeah.
And I told them, and I remember having a conversation about, she was like, well, do you think that it's going to be, more paranormal since, there's so much chaos? Do you think that was the question she was asking us? And she was like, or do you think that it's going to be more of a spiritual thing? And I remember talking to her and telling her that it would be up to people during 2020, during the pandemic, when you have nothing but free time and you're locked in your house. It would be the best time for everybody in the world to self-reflect and take ownership of their things. And I'm not going to say everybody done it, but I want to be hopeful and believe that a lot of people took that opportunity to really self-reflect and grow, because you had nothing but time, and this pandemic showed a lot of people what was really important in their life. And
Yep.
you had to take a step back and look at what you value the most and do some self-reflecting and growth and fix yourself.
yes, like you said, take inventory of your storage. What are you holding on to that you don't need, and what are you holding on to that you do need? There's stuff that we have that we do hold on to that we need to let go, because that does weigh us down. So that's an awesome way to look at it, for sure.
I really hope that a lot of people took the opportunity, even though it was a crap opportunity, and did that, because to me, it was the perfect time for everybody to get a chance to do that, and grow from it. Something good come out of it.
Well, and like Jason was saying earlier, like there's been retrograde after retrograde after retrograde. Like one of the things I've noticed the most is Mars is out of control with, here I am, this brilliant reddish orange color in the sky. You see me? And my mom's like, what is that? And I'm like, that's Mars. You don't know that's Mars? Like, come on.
I have rocked through this retrograde like a pro. Like, this is the best idea. But the call, not so much.
Yeah, it's hitting the kiddo pretty
It's
hard.
hit the kid hardcore, nonstop, and it's very obvious. And I'm like, oh, stop.
My kids have been pretty good, but recently it's like their horns are growing, and I hate school. You're the worst teacher in the world. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, we're just playing catch up, okay? Once we get past catch up, it's gonna be so easy. Just imagine, we're almost there.
Oh my gosh.
His emotions are out of control right now. Like he is. I've talked to y'all a little bit about him, and everybody knows him. But he's sensitive anyway, and like this retrograde has really brought out to be like with him, and he's crying. And I'm just ready for it to pass on. And he is too, because he doesn't understand.
He had a full-blown meltdown tonight. The most recent one is every Christmas decide to off the little angel tree. That's Christmas you buy 2 kids Christmas. That's what he wanted to do this year, and then he broke down. He's like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, why? He's like, because if we only get 2, who's gonna get the other ones? Let's do them all. Like, I want all the
I don't want to
kids.
do it if I can't do them all. I don't want to do it. I'm like,
That's so
like,
sweet.
but he was having like a full heartbroken meltdown, and I'm like, Asher, breathe. Let's do this right now. And he can't. His emotions are so high right now. everything is like heart wrenching and gut wrenching to him at the moment. He's so ready for this to be over.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
this, Jason, to you. I mean, have you noticed since COVID? Have you noticed any ample cases, any paranormal is it amped up in your area at all?
We've got a couple of emails and stuff. Craig forwarded me one the other day, and I thought it was. I haven't fully read it all, but he sent me an email, and it was from another team, and
Excuse me.
it's okay. Is mine good? Okay. And no, I'm just kidding. I got an aggravator, and he forwarded me another team that sent us an email, and it was weird because they're located like in Knoxville, but they're from Indiana, and I don't know. It was like strange. Like we haven't gotten one of these emails in a long time, and they're like, if you're ever in Indiana, let us know because we know some really good places there. And I'm going, oh, okay. And I've never been to Indiana. I mean, it was just like a random message, and they're like, we want to hang out with you guys, or whatever, get to know you all as a team or whatever. And and I was like, I don't know, it was like the randomness of the message.
Right.
And I don't know, it was crazy. It was baffling almost. Like because the emails we get are like from actual like residential. And this was just out of the blue, like I've never heard of this team before being local. Just all of a sudden it's in the inbox and you're like, I don't know how to reply to this, honestly, because I'm not sure. I don't know what they want. I don't know because my guard went up automatically, and I'm like, okay, do they know something we don't? Or what's the motive? And I hate to be that way. I really do. But I told Craig, like 4 or 5 months ago, and we were talking and stuff before the first time we went to the Right Hotel, and I was like, 2020, it's going to be rough. I was like, but whether we get the crown this year or not, I said we're going to ride this out till the wheels fall off. I said it doesn't matter, what happens. I said we're going to push it 110%, and and then this we get this email, and it's like I was fine up until I got the email, and then it was like this wall came down, and I'm going, how do I reply to this? Like I don't really know these people. Do I want to get to know these people? And then the empathic, by me reading the email, I start seeing stuff, by reading this email, and I'm going, I don't know. Like it's like I'm second guessing myself, and I'm trying to go with what my gut tells me, and I don't know if they're good people, bad. Yeah, and I'm like, with everything 2020 has thrown at us, do we want to take the chance? Do we want to spend the time? Is it just going to be another? And I hate this word, flash in the pan. Is it going to be another? We want to go do stuff with you. We want to hang out, and then all of a sudden they disband and you never hear from them again. Right. And you never get that time back. You never.
That's kind of like why we got a core group. The core group meets monthly, does classes together, pays dues. This year there's only 3 people that paid dues, but they're still core group because financially, like, COVID has been really hard. But as far as like people calling for help, there's been many people. I'm like, giving them tips online, things they can do. Salt, sage, Palo Santo, frankincense, like all this other stuff. Intent is the most important. You have to have the belief in yourself and the intent that you put forward for this thing to leave. Otherwise, it's going to be like, this is a joke. This person isn't serious, because they can tell, like we were talking about earlier, whether it's reading you internally, telepathically, so on and so forth. But as far as coming forward and calling for help, It's been insane, and I haven't been able to help so far because of COVID. One of our team members got COVID, so she's like, I'm not going to get it again. You know, I'd really like to help, but I'm not going to do it, and everybody's on board. But then Mia came forward and said that she'd help me out and help me to help these people, because you can tell them, but unless you go there and help them and show them, sometimes they don't learn. You know, different people learn different ways. But I feel like there's an upsweep in the paranormal, whether it's UFO, alien, ghosts, hauntings, demons. My sister was talking to me, and she's like, I hope you don't think I'm crazy. And I'm like, out of all the people that you'd hope, I'm like, me? Like, I'm making a place for people that feel like they're crazy because they're experiencing this stuff. This stuff is real. But she's experiencing now not just shadow people, but the people that are darker than the dark, which I saw one of those about 10, 12 years ago. But she said she's seen them lately to where when they move, it's like kind of snaky. Sometimes they go into a blob and move. Like, it's really weird, but they move extremely fast. But it seems to me that it's really insane on that level. But we'll have to go to break, and we are late, fashionably. We have Michaela Hay, which Alyssa was asking me about her.
I love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. I cannot believe how young she is and how talented, and she's actually taking advantage of it. But she's going to be singing Mirror, Gravity, Pins and Needles, and Collapse. And then we have Fred Johnson III from Canyon County, California with Sugar. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this musical break.
Heart is out of reach, but objects may seem near. Talking on pins and needles, every word through a microscope. You keep stomping down on the ground while I've been stuck on this tightrope. I just wanna say what I wanna say without your sentence. I'm not willing to do the time when I'm innocent, and I'm innocent. Talking on pins and needles. Talking on pins and needles. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. Walked on my share of thin ice with your blowtorch at my feet. You won't ever see me beg, so take this tongue off your leash. I'm gonna say what I wanna say, don't need permission. Interpret it how you want, it's my decision. Talking on pins and needles. Talking on pins and needles. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. Dancing on shattered glass, kicking the pieces all around. My safety has been broken, this is now a hunting ground. Talking on pins and needles. Talking on pins and needles. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done, and I'm done, and I'm done, done, done. I'm gonna hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. And I'm done,
Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. The tension's overbearing. Wondering, are you coming back home again? To inspire fondness with love. Where did our love go wrong? My sugar. Why did I make you cry? Whispers flow through my mind when I think about you. That warm feeling in me. My heart sings a sad song and just melts away. Please look into my eyes, my sugar. This life is not fair. Until the sun doesn't shine anymore, I'll be there. When time is a memory, I'll know this love. You will always be the one, my sugar. The feeling is so strong. Waiting here on this cold, lonely night without you. Where did our love go wrong, my sugar?
Welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we're joined by Jason, HollyWood, Fife, and then we also have Caden and Alyssa Mask on the telly. Welcome, you guys, and thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for.
I'm waxing on and I'm waxing off. So we're talking about a lot of stuff on break, but did you guys want to continue the conversation here, kind of give a background of what we're talking about as far as, we have that too for our group, as far as a questionnaire that you fill out about what prescription, illegal, or other drugs, and we're not wanting to judge you, we just want to know what's going on in the atmosphere, because certain things can pique certain things, you know, whether it's real or a part of your imagination. It's very important to have that filled out, and a lot of people have declined investigations due to that form. So I don't know, maybe next time I should say, we're not here to judge you, we just want to know like what the equation is to figure this out. But
Well, I was telling Jason, you know, we have a 3-page questionnaire that we got, and part of that is: are you on any type of prescription drugs? Are you on any type of illegal, what would be considered illegal drug? Illicit. You know, and a lot of that is, a lot of people don't know, is with some prescription drugs, if you mix them with alcohol, it will cause hallucinations, and even some without mixing them
blackouts.
will cause hallucinations, blackouts, all times and all sorts of, dizzy feelings all of a sudden. So that's why we asked them. But, that's why I was telling Jason, I call before we even go. And I ask them the questions, and I write down the answers. And that determines on if it's a case that we're going to take or if we're not going to take. And who am I kidding? 99% of the time we take the case. There's been 5 that I know of that we were like, no, we're not touching that with a 10-foot stick. We'll take you to somebody else and get you to care. Yeah, but even then, though, so many people try to be, and we have all people we know, when you are on prescriptions that are not yours or any type of drugs that are not yours, or if you're an alcoholic, you're not going to be truthful with strangers. You're going to try to, lie and be like, no, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And then when you get there, it's kind of hard to hide that because we know what to look for. Jason, you know what to look for. Tessa, you know what to look for. You can instantly tell by somebody's grammar and their body language if they're on something. And we always call them out right on the spot.
We've done it before.
Yeah, we have done it, and it's called fights, but they still, we came from a place of we're not judging you, but we need to know exactly what you're on, understand if this is all just a hallucination because you haven't been asleep in 3 days, or if your mentality has created a poltergeist of things. That's what it's called.
Or your energy, yeah.
That was like 4 or 5 hours away, I think.
I don't know if you guys should like hold the phone or something. I don't know. It seems like there's like noise from the floor or something. There's something there. I don't know if you notice it, Jason, but there's this noise.
It's kind of like
I'm hearing feedback, but I don't know which one it's coming from. Is this better?
Yeah. A little.
Yeah.
I can still hear that noise, but go ahead.
Oh, it's quiet here.
But we had a client when we were with another team. And the reason it sticks out to me is because it's one of the very first ones when I ever started working with a team and was public with my mediumship and was actually publicly going out and helping people not in a club. And they filled out a questionnaire over the phone, and I received a picture of one of the people who lived in the home, and I told one of our team lead at that time, you're like, wait a minute, that there was some heavy drug use in that house. Yeah, because I could smell, I knew what it was by looking at the picture. It was immediate. And I told them, this is not a paranormal case, this is a life case. And it was really hard for me. Do you remember that? I struggled because the team was like, well, if that's the case, then I don't want to go. I was like, no, we have to. Because if we don't, you're going to die. And this family's going to fall apart. It was really, really bad. And I had this huge pull to go. Mind you, 5 hours away from me. And he left it up to me. He left it up to me whether we went or not. We went because I knew if we did not go, we would call them out and try our best to find a rehab to send him to him back. Nothing about that case is paranormal, and I knew it wasn't because I think I told you about this like a couple of years ago. But that was the first one that we ever done where I really felt like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do, even if it's not, messing with equipment and messing and finding things and doing paranormal things. This happened for a reason, and that girl needed it. And I knew if we go, like I said, she was going to die. She had to have somewhere. So we went, and we did take our equipment. We would talk to them, and we caused an argument, a riffraff for a little while. It was really uncomfortable. But I was very firm, and I wouldn't give up. And when we left, she had all of the information to be delivered to a rehab the next day because I had spent like 6 hours waiting for her to go. But and she went, and to this day, she's still on Facebook and she's clean and she's living a new life. But I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like that, but it's strange how it works and intertwines with what we do when it comes to helping people. And you have to make like this moral decision to take it or not take it. And do what? Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. But, I mean, it's to me, it's part of what we do when we say that we're going to help people, and that's what we're here for. There are times where I feel like you have to say no, but there's also times where morally I feel like you just don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You could sleep at night if you don't. You know, that was a 5-hour trip one way, 10 hours both ways for us, and a lot of money. But it was worth it for a song to help that family, even though, like, they called us and she honestly believed they had demons in their house. They had fairies. I mean, they were naming off all kinds of stuff, you know, crazy shit's going on here. Blah, blah, blah. And that's not what the case was. She was just spun out with that, and everything was chaotic because they were up on it. Right. But we helped them, even though it wasn't paranormal.
Well, sometimes it takes somebody coming in from the outside to bring them down, because you can get to that point where, like, you hear the dryer going and you're hearing voices because of the white noise, or you're standing at the window having a conversation with somebody that's not even there. Like, it can really affect you, whether it's sleep deprivation or the combination of that and not eating and whatever else is happening in their life. And that poor kid, you know, having to go through that and have that insecurity or unknowing of, is this really happening, and getting freaked out and not wanting to sleep at night on their own because they're worried about these different things in their house. It can be insane, but it is cool that we can help people to help bring them down and bring them back to reality. But even if they're not on drugs, like, they feel like they are, or they feel like they're crazy. Like, it's insane the way the paranormal world kind of works. But it's cool to be here, like you said, and helping each other.
Jason, do y'all run into that a lot, where you go somewhere and it's not paranormal, like on a legitimate case?
Yeah, we I don't. It's kind of strange because, this is my biggest moral dilemma. Is we had a case a couple years ago, and this was like, we took a break for a while, and this was kind of like the case that sort of like we kind of stepped back a little bit. We had a client, and she was single, and she lived in a historic house, and it was, I mean, she was an antique dealer. So she traveled the world, France, you know, Europe, Spain, like all these places, buying antiques, like full, like bedroom suits, living room suits, you know, and stuff. And she would basically bring them back to the house and set them up for display, where she would have clients that would come from all over the world to her house. Well, and this was kind of my issue a little bit. She had called us, you know, and this place is only like 30 minutes from my house, and so she calls us, you know, me and Craig go by there, and it's like we walk in and it's weird. I got like a weird feeling, like straight off the bat, like I don't know what's going on, you know, I don't know what's happening. And so a couple days later, you know, we went back, set all of our equipment up, you know, and left. But she kept telling us that, you know, we did the whole, like, you know, 4-page questionnaire, you know, the hard questions to ask. She broke down on us a couple of times. You know, we videoed everything. You know, she was like, I know enough about the paranormal, but there's a lot of stuff I still don't necessarily know. And because I'm not in the priesthood or, you know, a pastor.
Well, even if you are in the priesthood or a pastor, you don't know everything. Like, there's been several that have been like, I don't even know what's going on here, and I have to walk away.
Yeah, that was kind of her thing, because she kept being sexually assaulted by a demon. And, and I'm sitting there and this is when the morality hit me. And I'm sitting there going, I've been on a lot of cases. I've done, talked to a lot of people. I've never dealt with this before, ever. And this lady's sitting there basically telling us, that she can't go to sleep. She's afraid to go to sleep, and then like 5 minutes later, she's all happy. And then like 5 minutes later, she's like, don't you all leave, because I don't want to be here by myself, and then like the morality comes in, duality of the human nature.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're trying to figure all this stuff out, and ended up, she had been searching for an exorcist / cleansing person to come to her house. And basically what it boiled down to was she was wanting to be on TV. That was kind of the gist of it. She wanted to get, the publicity of kind of what was going on, and that whole case was like insane to me because, we're coming into our own and we're doing all this stuff and we're legit trying to help. And like I said, she was a great person, she still is, but, she paid to have this person fly in, do all this stuff. He stayed there the night, whatever. We went back the next day, got our equipment and stuff. And, it was like we never heard from her again. And I'm like sitting there, and this is legit. This is the stuff you hear people talk about that you don't want to believe, but yourself, you're sitting there going, well, it's half true and it's half not. So I firmly believe to this day there was something there that was attached to her, and all the furniture and stuff that she had that was from all these different places, antiques and stuff. She had issues there. She had stuff going on, but I don't know if she played it out so much that she started believing in this. She started having that whole, mentality, and it was craziness. And that's kind of when, I stepped back a little bit and was trying to figure this out, because I'm sitting there going, we're meant to help people. That's what we do. But at the same time, like, what's going on? How does this stuff happen? Like, legit, how do you deal with this when you're a normal person, but on the other spectrum, you have gifts and abilities, but you're trying to help people, but you're lost.
Yeah, they're like
the
energy vampires. They're like, just feed it. Like her, she dropped off the map, and I had a case like that where we did this investigation. It was supposedly demonic. It would assault the husband, drag him off the bed or couch, whatever he was on. And she had actually been assaulted once, I think. But there was so much different activity going on. Come to find out, she had a lot of trauma from her childhood, being in an orphanage, growing up, and she never dealt with it with any sort of therapy or psychology or anything like that. And she had the mentality of like a 15-year-old, even though she's like 32 or something like that. And we thought a lot of it was like a poltergeist, something that was coming off of her and causing these different things to happen. And so we did the cleansing, we took the pictures, we did the saging, all kinds of other stuff, and different manners of doing it. Like, I'm more of the Christian. I have people in my group that are Wiccan and other things. So we tried our different methods to see what would work and let them know you have to draw from your faith in order to beat this thing. You have to know you're stronger than it, and you have to go get therapy. You have to deal with this shit that's plagued you in the past, because it did throughout her job and her personal life, so on and so forth. She just felt like the world was against her. And then later on we hear from her husband again, it's like 100 times worse now. There's so many more spirits and demons and other things happening. And I'm like, well, did your wife ever go get therapy? No. Well, if you don't help yourself, we can't help you.
Yeah, I mean, that's dead on. I mean, that's kind of the counterculture of this. This is like the catalyst of, we can only do so much. there's only so many priests that we can call or that we know that can come do house blessings or that can, do exorcisms and do all this other stuff. There's only so many people that can physically help you. If we can give you the tools, but we can't make you do it. And I think a lot of people, have this. I don't really know how to say it, but they have this like mentality. Yeah, it's like this thing of
attention seeking.
Yes, I called you, so I need you to help me now. And they don't think about what we deal with. That's what even me and Craig talk about stuff now. That's happened in the past with us, and it's like nobody. The 6 months that we were both going through a depression that neither one of us knew about, and we're still going about our daily lives, but still trying to help people. And then we didn't know we were going through it at the same time until we started talking about it, and it's because of the cases that we were on and because of the stuff that we were doing. And you're like sitting there going, you were having issues too? Well, I thought you were cool. And he was like, well, I thought you were cool,
Yeah.
And you don't, it's just the thing, but I don't know. It's just, it all comes back full circle,
It really does. And it can be so many different factors. Caden and Alyssa, as far as your cases go, have you ever had somebody that had issues that were not really paranormal? It was really coming from themselves, or they're faking it to get the attention, or some other thing?
I want to say about 90% of the cases that we get are all mentality and self-manifest.
That's a lot.
And that's what I told Alyssa, literally, and that's probably being very generous. 90% of the people that call us, it's for they think that their place is haunted, and it turns out just to be their own manifestation of past traumas or current drugs or alcoholism or current traumas, or a lot of it is, goes back to there might have been like residential energy at home, and because their relationship is toxic, it just made it worse. It made that energy it's the way we explain to them, because they're like, energy, how am I making myself, or how is my energy, throwing this book off the shelf or scratching me or making me have these bad nightmares? I'm like, well, think about it. If you walk into two of your friends' house and you feel the tension, you know that they've been fighting. You weren't there, but you know that something is off and that they're fighting. How does it make you feel? Well, it makes me feel weird. It makes me feel awkward. It feels like there's pressure around you, right? Yeah. That's their manifestation doing it to you. Imagine what your own energy is doing to yourself. I'm not saying that's every case, but with the ones, like I said, 90% of the ones that we worked, it was all past trauma. And we ended up having to do, either Alyssa will do it or she'll get some of her.
One lady out of all those that allowed me to lay her down and physically heal her and help her. They get real nervous about. I don't, find it. I have faith in myself with it, and I know that it works. But when it's down to it, there's only one lady whatever because just wanted to go away. And I did a lot of, what is it? Can you hear me?
In and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I gotta adjust my boobs. Maybe it'll help. Sorry, I had an itch.
Out of all of them, I think I'm correct. Right?
I don't know if it's the wind, the energy, or what.
I don't know how super. I'm just gonna put us on mute for like 30 seconds. See if the feedback's coming from us.
Oh, like the speaker or something?
It may be just from the reception of their phone or something.
Yeah, it's just weird. And there was that one point where we're talking about something that was like demonic or whatnot, and there was this weird feedback that came through that didn't come back again. Did you notice that, Jason?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah. It like kind of crackled and popped, and it was kind of weird.
And now it's quiet. Maybe they muted. I don't know. But continue, Alyssa. Sorry.
You're good. Anyway, the one lady that had a lot going on. It was self-manifested. There were things going on, but everything that was going on was self-manifested. And yes, and she was openly willing to do whatever and anything that she had to do to make things better and make her life better because she was miserable. And so I spent like 3 hours with her in her home, and then continued to work with her via phone 5 hours away for like a month, something like that. A month solid every day. I talked to her until she was comfortable enough to do these exercises and do these things for herself in a routine and implement them in her life. And it helped, but some people just aren't open to that. They're not welcoming to it, and that's okay. It's scary. You don't believe in it, it's just scary. And I'm not somebody that pushes it on people, because if you don't believe in it and you don't believe in the power of the healing with it, and you're not open and receptive to it, what I do for you is only going to be short-lived. It's not going to last. It's not going to, you'll be able to tell, but it will be for a short amount of time, because it's not something you're going to work on and hold on to. Just like Jason said earlier, you can give people the tools to help themselves. You can give them the information that they need to do the things that they need to do and implement in their life to make things better. But that doesn't mean they're going to do it. They have free will, and if they choose not to do it, then they're not. Silence.
Yeah, it's true. Like, she's either going to do it or not, and people will take your advice or they won't. And
Right.
You can draw a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like, there's only so much you can do, and you still kind of feel guilty about it. I know I do, because I grew up being a people pleaser. Like, I want to make you happy. I've learned that I have to take care of myself in order to take care of others, and you can't make people understand, or like you said, or like I said, take a horse to water. You can't make it drink. You can will it to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to.
Large people pleaser, and I would bring myself down and burn myself out trying to do everything I could for everybody. It got me in a really bad, messed up place, and I had to make a decision not to do that.
I don't know where that feedback's from, because I'm like mute nurse whenever you guys talk, and I only hear into the mic.
I'm trying
Weird
to understand. There, it's better. Okay, now say it.
It's a normal thing for us. We can't come on here and not have.
I know. I call it paratechnical issues. It's not technical, it's paratechnical, because this shit don't usually happen.
There's too much energy in this thing.
Look, you got us two, them both, you got HollyWood, and you know that was a recipe for something to go up.
Yeah, I was hoping. I'm just kidding. No, but I felt bad for Jason, because we've had to tried to have Craig on a couple times, and he came on once, but it was for a short time because he had to go to work, and then today he had to work sun up to sundown, or really early to really late, so he couldn't come on, which I totally understand. Not gonna hold it against him, but I'm like, if you guys come in, and it was perfect timing. We were just talking about you guys, and so it was awesome to have you guys in and have your energy, no matter how disruptive. I still love you guys.
We four definitely need to make a trip to, us three need to make a trip to Tennessee for HollyWood next year, for sure.
Anything coming. Be ready.
Yeah. You just let me know Make it happen.
We may have to test it. We may have to just bring HollyWood on the Chad Nalta train too.
Right? I can't believe they didn't go to Arkansas. Alabama? Are you serious?
Right. Like, come down, Texas, go see them, and then drive back up and see Fife. Yep. It'd just be a round trip.
Yeah, I'm coming by myself this time. I'm not bringing my sister. Nobody.
Yeah. And those can't eat. There's the other.
I think I heard there's others just sing. I don't know what the rest of it was because it was like, you don't need it. And I'm like, I'm trying to hear it. I love you guys. I'm glad you guys called in for sure. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was
And we do have to plan that. We need to keep in touch. Make a plan.
for sure.
Oh, they did.
Really.
Yeah. Let's see. We have about 17 minutes. Fly to Memphis. It's cheap, and we'll pick you up. Yeah, I'm gonna just do my own plan instead of listening to, the peanut gallery. I'm just gonna do my own thing this time, and trust in it instead of being like, like I was so confident before, and then peanut gallery can be very negative. There's a lot of dark nuts in there.
Oh, well. All right, guys. We're going to jump off here so that Mr. HollyWood over there can finish up the show. Thanks for letting us crash.
I so enjoyed it.
It was awesome to see you guys and hear you guys, for sure.
Bye, guys.
Night, living light. We should have them on the after party for sure.
Yeah.
And I still heard something. I still hear it. Do you hear it?
A little bit, yeah. I can't hear it now. As of right now, I can't hear it.
Yeah, me either. What the
I
crap?
think it was just their connection, maybe.
It keeps coming in and out. There's something lingering. But anyways, we do have like 15 more minutes left, so we were talking about conspiracies, like any other things we could talk about. What would you like to talk about?
I mean, I'm pretty much. I know we had talked about like parallel universes and stuff, just a little bit. But that's like I don't want to go down the rabbit hole by any means, But I do personally, I do feel that we're definitely not alone here. There is so much more out there. There's so many other planets and solar systems and and stuff, and it's just not our solar system. I firmly believe that there's definitely life out there, floating around or living like we're living. Maybe more advanced, maybe not, but that's always kind of been I'm a huge like science person, and I've always believed that like how can, and I break it down to myself so much, but I'm like, if there's, my big thing is like, okay, there's water here, our planet is made up of whatever, 65%, 80% water or whatever, how are we the only planet basically out of our whole solar system, that we can live on? There's no other planets that we can inhabit or whatever. But I've had conversations with people before of like this is the only solar system that we have. There's no other solar system. And the galaxy and stuff is so huge that like you were saying earlier about the doppelganger, and we have people that look like us or whatever, and there's probably 50 other people or even more that look just like I do. They may be different colors or whatever, but I really feel that they're living the same life we are. They're grinding day in and day out, and they have the same emotions or feelings, or they look up at the sky and they're like, there's got to be other people out there, you know, and I don't know, I'm a big part of that, you know.
I believe that too, and like I grew up mostly knowing and seeing the paranormal, and then my dad was like, "Yeah, I've had a couple paranormal experiences, but he believed in aliens and UFOs," and I'm like, "Well, that's a different thought process for me," and so I believed in it because my dad did, but I had never witnessed it till about 2012 when I did actually see my first UFO a couple times during that year, and then a couple times a couple years after that, depending on where we were. But I was like, wow, they really do exist, and it makes you wonder. And even my sister is on this train of, we know there's a God, but we're at the point where we're like, what actually is he? Like, before we thought of him as this, monstrous giant that is a spiritual being. And I personally believe there's a Heavenly Mother and Heavenly Father. He just doesn't mention her out of respect. And I keep hearing that noise. But it could be alien. It could be something else that, through the years, people have thought they were gods. Even the picture of Mary holding the baby Jesus. There's a war going on in the sky between UFOs. There's more societies, more planets. They've even found them not too far from us with water, planets that could actually sustain us.
Yeah, and that's that's a huge, thing of, that, what was it, like last year or year before, with the Mayan calendar, and the pyramids and, and all this stuff. And, I'm sitting there thinking like, and this is, I don't know why. I mean, I guess I'm weird sort of, but I think about stuff like that. I'm like, how did people build these pyramids, so long ago, and they're so perfect, I mean, they're
pristinely
like
cut.
Yeah, and I'm like, and they didn't have, any of the technology stuff that we have now, and where we could go out with bulldozers and dump trucks, and yeah, we can build stuff like that, but there's no way we could build it, with the same, they use like humans and, animals and stuff, to haul, and logs, to haul these bricks and stuff that weigh thousands of pounds, up to build this. And I'm sitting there like, how is that possible? And with the mines, and the calendar and, just all these random facts that they had. I'm like, how are they so smart in math then? And
even astrology. It's like, how did
Yeah.
they know that with no telescopes and such?
Yeah, I mean the people out, in the ships and stuff, even like pirates, how did they look up at the sky and be like, okay, you see those like 5 stars over there? We got to head towards, head that way, because, how do they know that stuff? I mean, and we don't even have technology that's necessarily that advanced, but hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years ago, they were able to build and make stuff that, we're nowhere even near. I figured 2020 we'd have like flying cars, and all this other stuff, but we don't, and I don't know, it just amazes me. I think about weird stuff like that all the time, like,
Me too.
I don't know. I can't help it. It's just I'll sit and I read and I'm just like, how is that possible? And it's like mind-boggling at times, because I will get myself worked up because I'm like, you have people that basically live like in a rainforest that had their own language, taught themselves how to write, taught themselves math, well beyond, the years. And here we are with everything we have, and we're nowhere near advanced as they were. I mean, I don't know. That blows my mind sometimes. Like, it just baffles me.
I personally think that humans have been around for longer than scientists admit. Even with the dinosaur skeletons, they're only testing the things around the skeleton, not underneath it. And so, I mean, for me, there's a gap. There's also where you see the dinosaur tracks and then the human tracks right next to it, kind of like, Fred or Barney walking their pet dinosaur to work or whatever. They're right next to each other. They could have been hours apart, but they're still set in stone. So I believe that we were around a lot longer than they're saying we were. And there's so many different things, even archaeological finds, where there's a hammer or a pickaxe or something that's millions of years old. How do you explain that? Time travelers? Like, I don't know. I think there's a lot that they're not telling us as usual.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I'm a huge history buff too. And, I'm sitting there and I do a lot of reading and stuff, and especially on like the Roman Empire. And I'm like, how, did they, come up and build these cities that, are still there today? And, they have massive waterworks, nobody before them had, these huge, I don't know, I can't think what it's called, Ralph Fan, but, massive water supplies, and it fed their cities, and it fed, the water fed out, to go to these other, areas and stuff that were close to it. And I'm sitting there like, how is that possible? How did they know, if they built it, it would work? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It baffles me a lot of times because I think about, random stuff.
Well, I think we have more questions than answers because they have been so diluted and keeping the truth from us instead of laying it out and saying, hey, this is how it is. Instead of the ego taking over, trying to take control, this is what we gotta say so they'll follow us and believe us. Just let us know what the truth is because it is out there and it's coming out. We're learning more and more all the time. Some people accept it. Some people try to decipher it. And some people are like, I don't even want to hear it. But it's pretty intriguing. I think we've been around for quite a while. And we've gone through cycles, of becoming very great, very large, and getting wiped out. Becoming very great, very large, getting wiped out again. We're getting back on the cusp of being very great and very large again. And now Israel is its own nation. And, the paranormal is just an upheaval. Like, it's so huge. I don't even know a time in the past when it's been this big as far as activity. It's just so rampant.
No, and that goes along with the the seven seals being broke. And a lot of people are like, wait a second, you're going into something way off kilter here. You're talking about revelations and you're talking about and if I had a friend of mine, and he always told me, he was like, read Revelations and then read Genesis. He said everything in between is just a study guide. He was like, when you're done reading those, he goes, go back and read Genesis and then go back and read Revelations. And it never really until this year, it never dawned on me. It never I never understood what he was trying to tell me. And, and I'd always joke with him and I'm like, okay, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, I was like, why is one on a pale horse? Why is the horse not white? Why is the horse not brown? I would ask him these questions and he would always laugh at me, and his thing was like, just, you really need to read it and understand it. He goes, in order, he said, because it's coming to fruition, and a lot of people don't maybe necessarily want to get it or want, that to happen. But I'm right there with you on the whole, like, I think we reach a certain level as humans and, they're like, okay, you're at this level now. We need to take it back down. you know, and
We need
then
to take it down a few levels.
exactly. It's like level 70 on Mario. You're like, yeah, okay, you've reached it. We're gonna take it back down to level 30, and then you're like, work your way.
Right? Well, Jason, I just want to thank you again for being on with me tonight and being my guest. And like I said, for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Is there a way that our listeners can follow your group, you and Craig, what you're doing on Facebook Live?
Yes, you can reach me, Jason Fife on Facebook, Craig Hoffner on Facebook. You can follow us on Lost Souls Paranormal Detectives on Facebook, and you can also we have another group. It's called the Knoxville Paranormal Society. You can join it too. We're all three. Me and Craig and our friend Cheryl. We're all three on those, and you can join up and message us anytime. Our contact information is on there, and you need anything out there, you're listening or watching, you need our help, just send us a message. We'll be more than happy to help you.
Heck yes. Well, it was awesome having you on and hanging out with you. I hope you join us for the after party. And we definitely got to try to get Cheryl in here sometime. Like, I only knew it was you and Craig. I'm like, come on, Cheryl, come hang out with us. But thank you again for hanging out. And like I said, I hope you come on the after party and hang out for a little longer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Periscope, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night when we have, and I hope I pronounce this correctly, it's an Italian name, Paul Vicietti, I don't know, The Disclosure Paradox. So it's interesting. It's a fictional novel, but he is a part of the Air Force. He has witnessed things. But you guys, don't forget, we are all in this together. Together, we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. If you'd like to join us on the Skype party that I just mentioned, just look us up at tessa.n.thomas30, or look me up at Tessa Thomas Peterson, or give us a call at 970-335-9596. Until next time, any night, love and light. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you back here, same time, same place. I also want to come in and announce Sleepy Dave does Time Slip Cafe on Mondays, and he also does his Minuteman Ministries on Sunday right before my show. I also want to thank our sponsors, Kevin McDougall, Dale Elson, Jim Morrison, Mia Savage, and our musical host, Quest, Mr. Washington, who gives us our music.